Love binds our order together. Love of people, of cultures, of the world. Fight to preserve that which inspires hope, and you will win back your people.
The year was 2007, and a new era in gaming was about to dawn. Ubisoft, a renowned game developer, introduced a revolutionary concept that blended historical settings, compelling narratives, and thrilling action. This was the birth of the Assassin's Creed franchise. The first Assassin's Creed game introduced us to the conflict between the secretive assassins and their arch-nemesis, the Templars. Players were transported to the Holy Land during the time of the Third Crusade, where they controlled Altair, a skilled assassin tasked with uncovering a conspiracy. The franchise truly took off with the release of Assassin's Creed 2. It expanded on its predecessor. It built on the foundations, offering a compelling story set in Renaissance Italy and introducing the charismatic protagonist Ezio. Players were captivated by Ezio's journey, his growth from a brash youth to a master assassin, and ultimately, his quest for revenge. Now, the success of Assassin's Creed 2 led to a swift release of another sequel, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. This entry brought a new dimension to the franchise by introducing an engaging multiplayer mode and allowing players to establish their own Assassin's Brotherhood in Rome. It was a time for triumph, as the franchise was seemingly unstoppable. But as the years went on, cracks began to appear. Assassin's Creed 3 arrived with a new protagonist, Connor, and a fresh historical backdrop, the American Revolution. While the game offered up some impressive moments, it failed to capture the same level of enthusiasm as its predecessors. Now, the franchise attempted a course correction, and this was with Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, which introduced naval combat and a vast open world set in the golden age of piracy. It rekindled some of the franchise's lost magic, but the essence of Assassin's Creed Templar conflict began to take a backseat to the swashbuckling adventures of Edward Kenway. Now, the ambitious Assassin's Creed Unity brought the franchise to the French Revolution, boasting stunning visuals and an expansive recreation of Paris. However, it suffered from technical issues and a lackluster storyline, ultimately leaving players disappointed. Once again, Ubisoft sought to breathe new life into the series with Assassin's Creed Origins. This installment took players to ancient Egypt and showcased a reimagined gameplay system with RPG elements. It was a step in the right direction, rekindling interest in the franchise, not fixing it, but rekindling it. Then, we get to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which followed, pushing the boundaries even further with a sprawling ancient Greek setting and a choice-driven narrative. While it divided fans, the game was commercially successful, demonstrating that the franchise still had a dedicated following. Now, we move to most recently with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This game transported players to a Viking age, allowing them to experience the raids and conquests of Eivor. The game received positive reviews and became a launch title on next-gen consoles, solidifying the franchise's endurance. However, Assassin's Creed has truly actually never been the same. Now, we can all agree the Assassin's Creed franchise developed by Ubisoft once stood as a pinnacle of the gaming industry, captivating players with its intriguing historical narratives, immersive gameplay, and revolutionary open-world mechanics. However, in recent years, it's just felt bland. It's felt lifeless. It's experienced a sort of decline that has sort of left the fans and critics disappointed. You have fans who love the new games, but they ultimately don't view them as Assassin's Creed games, so they like the games in a sort of different light. And then you have fans who love the older games and craved for Assassin's Creed to go back to its roots, essentially. So again, I'm here to discuss the factors that led to the downfall of the Assassin's Creed franchise and the consequences it has had on this once beloved gaming series. Now, the first point I'm going to bring up is, of course, repetitive gameplay formula. I feel like one of the key reasons behind this decline is just the repetitive nature of the gameplay formula, which is something that has killed a lot of Ubisoft franchises. Because over time, the franchise became trapped in a predictable cycle of just stealthy assassinations, repetitive side missions, and vast but often underutilized open worlds. As each new installment released, players were confronted with a sense of deja vu, resulting in, again, diminished excitement and a lack of innovation. This is something I brought up during my Far Cry essay. Now, the second point, I like to point out the annual release schedule. This is another thing that I feel like let Ubisoft down on so many fronts. Because this decision to adapt to annual release schedules, it means that you constantly have to churn out these games, and they become sort of production line games, like I like to mention. They become like McDonald's, like I always mention. It's just like formulaic food that doesn't really have like a soul or a purpose. It's just meant to fit the release schedule timeline. And as a result, you end up catering to everybody, but you don't really cater to anyone. So you sort of lose the soul, the essence, like I was mentioning, of the game. And as well, that places immense pressure on the development teams, because they're gonna have to compromise quality and originality in order to churn these games out. So of course, this then leads to rushed development cycles, technical issues, and an overall lack of polish. Again, this is something we find on every game that has yearly releases. Now, I think there was also a sort of dilution in terms of the narrative depth. Assassin's Creed used to be praised for its intricate, thought-provoking narratives, blending historical fiction with philosophical themes. However, as the franchise kept going year after year after year after year, I feel like the overarching story became convoluted and confusing. Basically, the focus shifted from engaging storytelling to just a more fragmented approach, with disconnected narratives, underdeveloped characters, and just a vast open world playground with which you can have a lot of fun in, but it's kind of just like aimless fun. There is no direction, hence I call it the dilution of the narrative depth, because it felt like there was a loss of emotional investment from the writers, because again, they had to rush these games out, they had to compromise, they had to just churn something out. And I think lastly for me, I would say the lack of meaningful innovation. Now this one is a bit of a broad point because it depends, you know? It's from a perspective from each person's individual view. Because I feel like the franchise failed to introduce any meaningful innovation, right? Which would retain players. Because the incremental improvements to gameplay, whether it be combat, the parkour mechanics, the core experience, it all sort of remained stagnant. They would just make the minor changes here and there to sort of flip the script a little bit and then go back to basics 2-3 years later. And so that lack of innovation for me, I feel like that also leads to a sense of repetitiveness and staleness, which again, something we see in things like FIFA as well. So again, I used to love this franchise. I hope that Ubisoft is able to revive this franchise. I like that they've taken a bit of a break from their yearly release schedule. I haven't heard anything on the ground about the new ones coming out. I have covered them on the channel here. We have Assassin's Creed Mirage coming out. We have a sort of blend. They have, I think it's like 3 or 4 games coming out that are sort of meant to cater to different crowds. So I'm not too sure which one is going to be the mainline one. But it'll be interesting to see how they approach that, because I think Mirage is going to be the main focus in like the upcoming Assassin's Creed universe, in air quotes. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you enjoy Assassin's Creed? Do you think there's other things that Ubisoft could have done to keep this franchise alive? Or do you disagree and think that the franchise didn't stagnate? Personally, I just feel like Ubisoft needs to prioritize quality over quantity. Invest in innovative gameplay, drop the yearly release schedule, focus on the game mechanics right, and this will allow you to deliver compelling narratives that basically reignite the passion for the players. This is something I asked for them to do in Far Cry as well. Whether or not they'll do it in the end, I don't know. But again, hopefully they're able to bring back this phoenix from the ashes that is the Assassin's Creed franchise, so that it can rise again from its decline and regain its status as a beloved and groundbreaking gaming series. Hope you guys enjoyed this little video. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, stay dangerous, stay blessed, and peace out.
You mentioned a creed before. What is it?
Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.
This is the world's only certainty.
So you're all part of some daffy religion?
We're assassins and we follow a creed, aye. But it does not command us to act or submit, only to be wise.
We are one. As we share the glory of our victories, so too should we share the pain of our defeat.
We believe ourselves redeemed.
Right there. Imagine having to put down your own brother.
Oh my god.
Oh. Died last time. Come on, let's go. Woo. Let's go. It's those father-son moments again. Oh, but now Freya's here as well.
That if you just build great games, everything would turn around.
And then the great games point is the one that I wanted to argue against heavily, because what is the point of your console if it's not for games? Like, what is the point of having a console if you're just gonna do Game Pass and cloud gaming? Like